So after cutting off the end and dividing it up to make pretty garnishes for the drinks, what I'm gonna do to make the cubes is try my best to get like kind of similar size squares. You want them to be not too big because then it's a lot harder for your blender to work, and not too small because you'll lose too much water. The more you cut it, the more you have a chance for like the water to kind of drain out. So I'm gonna about like an inch. All the way down. You can just cut all the way down like that, but I'll just show you what we're gonna do. We're gonna basically make kind of square frame here. And walk it down like 1 inch at a time. And then a nice inch at a time. And then that way you have fairly similar size cubes. You get rid of the ones with too much white. We can do a lot of other things with these other, we can pickle the watermelon rind, we can have fun with the other ways, but for this drink, I'm just gonna show you how to make these cubes. So you make these cubes, they're similar sizes, you put them all aside. What I like to do is take a sheet rack, a sheet tray rather, and put like either a silpat down or some plastic wrap, and then arrange all the cubes and then stick it in, as the tray into the freezer, and then that way you can have all these individual cubes. Now that's one way to do it, and it's my favorite way to do it because you get more of the stuff in the watermelon. If you want to do it another way, you can easily just take all of these, throw them in a blender right now as they're warm, and then pour the watermelon juice into into an ice mold, like ice tray mold, and then just crack them like ice cubes, and then use those. But either way, you're going to want about 8 ounces of it. So this is my favorite one. I also think it looks good if your guests are watching that you put real fruit in a blender. I just prefer it. But anyway, that's how you do it. We're gonna do the watermelon freeze in this episode, and I chopped up a watermelon earlier and cut it into these small little cubes and then put it in the freezer as cubes. So what we're gonna do with this frozen blender concoction is use the watermelon cubes as our ice cubes. So it's gonna have a really like thick watermelon flavor. So there's 8 ounces that I weighed out, and then we're gonna do 1.5 ounces of our watermelon syrup that we made previously of watermelons. There we go, it's 1.5 ounces. Don't be afraid, it's a big drink. 1/2 ounce of fresh lime juice. There we go. And 1.5 ounces of Navy Strength gin. Now there's a lot of other stuff in this drink, 8 ounces of watermelon and 1.5 ounces of watermelon syrup and 1/2 ounce of lime juice. So you want enough gin. So the Navy Strength, although if you're worried, you're like, oh, I don't know, that's 114 proof gin, don't worry about it because it's gonna be, you're gonna have enough other stuff in there and it's gonna be crowded enough. There we go. Blend it together. There we go. Now we're getting serious. Okay. There we go, and you just find the right glass for that. We're going to use a Collins glass. You can use, if you want to make a bigger version of this drink, you can use something like that. I really like the look of that, but we're not going to have made enough today for that. There are tiki drinks, there are big goblets you can use, so whatever you know, strikes your fancy. Okay. Now you can see by the way this is coming out of here that watermelon was plenty cold. So that is the key to this drink, making sure that your frozen watermelon is actually frozen. There we go, come on out. You can do it, I believe in you. There you go. Oh, there, perfect. That to the side. And then we cut up a little watermelon. This is the fun part of any drink with watermelon in it. Is go ahead and cut yourself a little, just like I demonstrated earlier, to go ahead and garnish with a nice fresh piece of watermelon. Everybody would be happy. Now that is great, and it's just like that is great. Nice big straw here. If you have something else pretty to put on the drink, that's not gonna hurt either. I happen to go into the garden, and although you don't normally want to eat these little flowers from the mint, I think they're just so pretty. So we'll do a little of that. Watermelon gin for ease.